So I scanned the artifacts and they are both quite clean irons. They're actually very similar in composition. It's really clean, really controlled composition. I've never seen that before.
Oak Island has always been a place where mysteries outweigh explanations. But this time, the uncertainty didn't come from an old legend or a wild theory. It came directly from the data. Inside a secure laboratory on the island, Emma Culligan was performing what should have been a standard composition analysis, the type of test that usually provides clear answers about what an object is made of and where it may have originated. But this time, the results made no sense. Instead of pointing to one clear source, the reading suggested multiple origins at once. At first, Emma thought the equipment had malfunctioned. She restarted the system and ran the scan again. The results were exactly the same. She recalibrated the machine and performed a third test, expecting at least some variation, but there was none. The data stayed perfectly consistent, and that was the alarming part. The material composition didn't match any known standard in historical metallurgy. It didn't fit a single civilization, time period, or recognized manufacturing method. It appeared to be something entirely different, something that shouldn't even exist according to current understanding. For someone trained to trust scientific precision, results like that aren't exciting at first. They're deeply unsettling. Emma didn't hesitate or dismiss the findings. She immediately contacted the team because when evidence refuses to fit established explanations, it becomes impossible to ignore. And what followed from that one impossible lab result didn't just add another clue to the Oak Island mystery. It completely changed the direction of the investigation. The discovery pointed the team toward a potential target estimated to be worth $260 million. More importantly, it raised a troubling possibility. What if everything they believed about who created Oak Island's hidden structures was wrong? Long before that shocking result appeared, there was the technology that made the discovery possible. Fans of The Curse of Oak Island know Emma Culligan as the laboratory specialist who uses advanced scientific tools like XRF and XRD, X-ray fluorescence and X-ray diffraction, to examine artifacts recovered from the island. But to understand why her discoveries matter so much, it's important to understand what those tools actually do. XRF, or X-ray fluorescence, works through a straightforward but powerful process. A beam of X-rays is directed at a material, displacing electrons from their normal positions. As those electrons return to their original state, they release energy. Every element releases energy at its own unique wavelength signature. Copper produces one signal, lead another, while gold and silver each create distinct patterns of their own. The scanner reads these signatures and quickly reveals the exact elemental makeup of an object, even detecting tiny trace amounts. In simple terms, XRF acts like a truth detector for metals. It cannot be fooled. No matter how old the object is or who created it, the machine reports the composition exactly as it exists, without assumptions, opinions, or interpretation. Emma joined Oak Island Materials and Archaeological Services in May 2022 as a laboratory specialist with expertise in elemental analysis, X-ray microscopy, and material characterization. Almost immediately, her work became essential to the investigation. One of her earliest breakthroughs came when she used CT scanning to identify a metal artifact recovered during excavation as a bunk hook, a tool historically used aboard cargo ships. On the surface, it seemed like a minor discovery, but its implications were important. It suggested that ships transporting valuable cargo had once operated near Oak Island. What makes Emma especially valuable isn't just her ability to analyze materials. It's her talent for connecting isolated findings into a much larger story, one that traditional fieldwork alone could never fully reveal. That became even more evident when she discovered traces of gold on a piece of wood. By combining surface analysis with water sample testing, Emma confirmed the presence of gold, a finding that immediately intensified the search efforts. The urgency was obvious as the team rushed to the money pit area to hear her results firsthand. Even Emma's reaction showed how significant the discovery was. But as important as those moments were, they were only the beginning. Emma had been building a chemical and historical baseline for the island, studying patterns, refining methods, and creating a framework for identifying anomalies. Then came a series of discoveries that seemed to connect multiple pieces of the Oak Island mystery at once. It started with a coin fragment. In Season 12, metal detecting expert Gary Drayton uncovered a small but fascinating artifact on Lot 5, part of a coin that had been intentionally cut into a quarter. Historically, people often divided larger coins into smaller pieces when smaller denominations were unavailable. Emma analyzed the fragment using XRF mapping, and the results were clear. It was silver. More specifically, it was identified as an English shilling dating back to the 1690s. That single discovery immediately fueled historical theories connected to Oak Island, including speculation involving 17th century explorer Sir William Phipps, who has long been rumored to have hidden treasure there. Finding a cut English coin from the 1600s on a remote island in Nova Scotia, already famous for its mysterious underground structures, was extraordinary on its own. But then another coin was discovered in the same area. When Emma placed the second coin into the XRF scanner, the results were unlike anything the team expected. The composition showed approximately 70% copper and 16% lead. An unusual combination rarely seen in modern coins and extremely uncommon in historical records. The reading was so strange that it challenged existing assumptions and deepened the mystery surrounding Oak Island even further. Based on the test results, the artifact was identified as a Roman coin dating between 200 and 300 AD. Take a moment to consider how significant that is. The metal composition wasn't just vaguely similar to Roman currency. It was a precise and repeatable match to an alloy commonly used during the Roman era, often known as gravis. This wasn't a random mixture of metals. It was a carefully controlled formula used in ancient Roman minting. No other known civilization consistently produced coins with that exact blend in the same way. The implications were enormous. Roman coins from this period are extremely rare, and when they are discovered, they often reveal important information about trade routes, travel, and connections between distant civilizations. But what many people missed was this. This was not the first Roman coin found on Oak Island. Not even close. In Season 13, another coin recovered from Lot 5 was examined using both XRF analysis and CT scanning. The tests revealed a composition containing copper, iron, calcium, and silver. The imagery and marking suggested it originated during the reign of Roman Emperor Claudius II. Emma Culligan dated the artifact to approximately 250 to 270 AD. That discovery brought the total number of Roman coins found in the same area to 6. 6 Roman-era coins discovered on a small island off the coast of Nova Scotia. To further evaluate the latest coin, numismatist Sandy Campbell was invited to examine the scans. As he reviewed the images, he identified a figure on the reverse side of the coin that appeared to be holding an oak leaf. He confirmed that the coin originated from the 3rd century AD. Then he made a statement that stunned everyone in the room. Out of all the Roman coins discovered on Oak Island, he considered this one the most significant. Even more surprising, he explained that Roman coins had never been officially documented anywhere else in Nova Scotia. Not nearby, not elsewhere in the region, only on Oak Island. Think about what that means. 6 scientifically verified Roman coins, all recovered from the same location, all dating to the same general time period, all pointing towards something that doesn't fit within conventional history. The evidence suggests the possibility that individuals connected to the Roman world may have reached this island more than 1,000 years before the officially recorded European exploration of North America. And just as that possibility was beginning to sink in, Emma analyzed another object, a button, and the mystery deepened even further. Lot 5 has quietly become one of the most important excavation sites in modern Oak Island history. Near the shoreline, archaeologists uncovered a carefully constructed stone foundation made of large rectangular stones that were clearly placed by human hands. From this area, the team has recovered a growing collection of artifacts, including coins, lead fragments, worked metal pieces, and one particularly intriguing object, a small decorative button. The button was discovered by archaeologist Jaime Kuber within the same stone foundation and later sent to Emma Culligan for testing. At first glance, it appeared to be decorative and possibly gold-plated, the kind of item that may have belonged to someone of status, perhaps even a military officer. Emma placed the button under the XRF scanner, and the results confirmed it was made from a copper alloy coated with a thin outer layer containing around 3% gold. In other words, the button had been gilded. Gilding was a technique commonly used in higher status metalwork during the post-medieval period. Even by itself, the discovery was meaningful. A gilded button, likely connected to formal clothing, suggested that someone important had once been present on Oak Island, someone with influence, wealth, or authority. But that was only the beginning. During the same excavation, another metal object was recovered from the exact same location. At first, it didn't appear extraordinary. It looked like an ordinary metal fragment, possibly decorative or structural. But once Emma analyzed it, the results changed everything. The XRF scan revealed that the object contained an unusually high silver concentration, approaching 40%. That number is critical because silver does not naturally occur at that level of purity without human intervention. The material had clearly been processed, refined, and intentionally manufactured. This wasn't raw ore pulled from the ground. It was worked metal brought to the island by people with advanced metallurgical knowledge. Then came the connection that made the discovery even more important. Emma compared the elemental signature of the silver artifact with traces of silver previously detected in water samples collected deep within the money pit, specifically from the solution channel located between 150 and 220 feet underground. The chemical profiles matched. The silver discovered at the surface on Lot 5 appeared to share the same source as the silver slowly dissolving deep underground. Emma has explained that her process involves analyzing artifacts independently before discussing results with archaeologists, helping ensure that her conclusions remain objective and free from outside influence. She also revealed that she had reference data from sites connected to Sir William Phipps, and some of the metal signatures recovered from Lot 5 closely resembled colonial American materials from that historical period. Now consider all of these discoveries together. Colonial-era metal signatures, Roman-era coin compositions, high-purity silver artifacts, medieval trade tokens, 17th century English currency, all recovered from the same stone foundation. This is no longer a single unexplained artifact. It is a convergence of history, not one object from one period, but a layered collection of evidence spanning nearly 2,000 years, all concentrated in one small area. This is what makes Emma Culligan's work so important. Her findings are no longer just interesting, they are reshaping the entire understanding of Oak Island. For more than 2 centuries, nearly every theory about Oak Island has focused on one central question: who built it? Some theories point to the Knights Templar, others blame pirates, explorers, or secret societies. Each theory assumes one group, one time period, and one purpose. But the scientific data no longer supports that idea. No single expedition or civilization can fully explain why artifacts from the 3rd century, the medieval era, and the 17th century are all appearing together in the same confined location. What the lab results suggest is not a single event, but a timeline. Oak Island may not have been used once. It may have been revisited repeatedly across centuries by different groups, each leaving behind physical evidence of their presence. Thanks to scientific analysis, the Oak Island investigation is moving beyond speculation and into measurable, evidence-based history. These discoveries are no longer just theories or speculation. They are backed by scientific data, tested, verified, and repeatable. And that's where the idea of a potential $260 million target begins to make sense. That figure isn't based on the idea of finding one massive treasure chest. Instead, it reflects the combined possible value of everything that may still be hidden beneath Oak Island. Gold, silver, rare historical artifacts, and objects whose historical importance could be worth far more than their raw material value. Rick Lagina has suggested that some of these findings may be connected to wealth recovered from historic shipwrecks and intentionally hidden on the island. Other theories suggest long-term involvement by organizations such as the Freemasons, possibly building upon structures and systems that may date back to the era of the Knights Templar. But the most important idea is this: Oak Island may have been used across multiple generations. Rather than one group hiding one treasure, the evidence increasingly points toward different groups using the island over centuries as a secure and carefully maintained location. Each group may have added something over time, contributing to a growing collection of valuables and artifacts that could trace back as far as the Roman era. Emma Culligan's laboratory work isn't simply identifying old objects anymore. It's uncovering a pattern, and that pattern is becoming harder to dismiss. Oak Island does not appear to have been accidental or random. The evidence suggests it was known, visited, and maintained by people who understood exactly what they were doing, even if modern investigators are only beginning to understand it now. And then there's another twist to the story, one that many people overlook, but which may be one of the most important details of all. Emma Culligan was never originally supposed to work on Oak Island. When she first received a message about the opportunity, she thought it was spam. Someone had submitted her resume for an entirely different position, a personal assistant role. And at first, the offer didn't seem real or relevant to her background. For a brief moment, she almost ignored it completely. Later, Emma described the situation very simply. She thought it was a fluke. That single decision nearly changed everything. Archaeologist Laird Niven recognized something others may have missed. He saw Emma's education, technical skills, and scientific background, and instead of placing her in an assistant role, he gave her responsibility over one of the most important tools on Oak Island, the XRF analysis system. It was a role that almost never happened. What followed were 3 seasons of work at the center of one of North America's most fascinating historical investigations. And if that email had been ignored, the story of Oak Island might look very different today. Not everyone would have understood what the data was trying to reveal. A coin containing 70% copper and 16% lead could easily have been labeled unusual and then forgotten, catalogued as an artifact of uncertain origin and stored away without further investigation. But Emma saw more than that. She understood the meaning behind the data. Her years of studying metallurgy, material science, and advanced imaging technology allowed her to recognize patterns that others may not have noticed. Her journey, growing up in Japan, moving across continents, learning a new language, and eventually specializing in metallurgical analysis, all seemed to lead to this exact moment. A series of unlikely events came together precisely where those skills were needed most, and the story becomes even more surprising. Emma has explained that her work on Oak Island opened entirely new areas of research she never expected to explore. Even Laird Niven admitted that Lot 5, now considered one of the most important excavation sites on the island, was never part of the original plan. Think about that for a moment. Lot 5, the area producing Roman coins, gilded artifacts, high-purity silver, and layers of historical evidence, was not initially supposed to be excavated. It wasn't marked as a priority site. It wasn't central to the original search strategy. The team only focused there because the scientific evidence kept leading them back to it. The search didn't uncover answers where everyone expected them to be. Instead, it revealed them in a place no one originally considered important. And that may be the biggest revelation of all. What Emma Culligan uncovered isn't just an unusual metal composition. It's a signal hidden inside the materials themselves. Evidence suggesting the team may have been searching in the right place all along, but asking the wrong questions. Because the true story of Oak Island may not belong to one specific event or one single group. It may belong to many different periods of history. Emma's expertise in archaeometallurgy has become one of the keys to unlocking that story. The XRF scanner is no longer just a scientific instrument. It has become a way of seeing patterns hidden beneath centuries of mystery. And right now, everything the data reveals points towards something incredibly significant. Not just valuable in terms of money, but historically important. A layered story buried beneath centuries of activity, hidden so deeply that even the metal itself seems to have protected the secret. The evidence is becoming impossible to ignore. The impossible blend is real. And after more than 230 years of mystery, Oak Island may finally be starting to reveal its answers. Please subscribe to the Timefold channel and don't forget to like.